Hello there. My name is Alexis Bennett, and this presentation is titled Unit 4 Assignment, Time Series, which is hyper-focused on time series data visuals and forecasting analysis. This project is a part of our Data 625 data visualization course, more specifically section 9082. Taught by Dr. Majid Al Gondor at the University of Maryland Global Campus. In the presentation, I will explore time series trends in baby name popularity using data visualizations created in Tableau, more specifically tailored to my research question or my proposed research question. How have popular baby names changed over time? What do these trends reveal about cultural preferences? So instead of me going with my normal financial and subscriber forecasts or data sets that's traditionally what I aim for, I said, okay, well, let's try a data set that's less complicated. How can we take something that's simple, very simplistic, and see if we can translate a story behind that? And so I wanted to pick something maybe fun and, again, simplistic. So the story focuses on understanding how baby names, the popularity has evolved over time, and what these trends can tell us about cultural and social influences on naming behavior. And so, just to kind of take a deeper exploration into that from the introduction here, the Tableau story examines how these trends or how the baby name popularity over time focuses on naming preferences, how that changes across a certain period. In this period, I focused between the years of 2013, 2023, 2024. The demographic groups, which is more specific with just tailored down to gender and sex, so female and male, and then using their historical birth data and just performing an analysis that highlights the most commonly used names and examines how popular those names are, what the rise and decline is in that specific data set, or if it remains flat over time. So that was something that I was also able to explore too with this specific data set. So through interactive visualizations, the story provides insights into gender and geographic based naming trends, revealing how cultural influences and generational shifts shape baby naming choices and the geographic based trends. And the data set pulled from 50 states. However, I made that again more simple. I just focused on the DMV area, so Washington, D.C., Maryland, and the state of Virginia. I just kind of tailored it down to that to see, okay, what does the trends look like here within the DMV, where I am locally? And so just that just gives a little bit of background in terms of the research. So transitioning into the popularity by name in the DMV, I'm primarily focused on one specific gender, but this chart here to start was where, again, I started in the overall analysis. Just looking at through a unique lens, understanding what the potential social influence, generational change, or cultural trends could be between female and male names. So the data set includes historical baby name records by year and gender, capturing how often each name was chosen. I was motivated to study the data because baby names often, again, reflect broader cultural influences such as popular media, tradition, generational values. So by analyzing naming trends over time, we can better understand how cultural preferences evolve in subtle but meaningful ways, right? So taking a look at this specific data visual here, we're looking at it based off the birth year, again, ranging from 2013 to 2024, more specifically, or 2014 to 2024, so within a decade period. Um, and we're looking at here, noted female, and to the right, male, and what that's returning here. So, for example, if we were looking at the year 2014, the name Abigail is a popular chosen name. It was chosen about 405 times within the year 2014 within the state of Virginia. Um, and that would be underneath of the gender specific females. Vice versa, if we were looking at the year of 2020, or even in comparison 2014, the name Mason is popular in the state of Virginia in 2014, with the number of occurrences being about 494 number of occurrences for that specific name. So I said, okay, well, let's have that side by side depiction there just to see, the comparison overall in terms of gender. But then I said, okay, this is still a lot of data. So how can we, where's the hyper focus? What can we laser in on for the consumer? I mean, this is very, very, this goes into what would you call it? This goes into the woods in terms of visual. So I said, okay, well, let's make it a little bit easier and just kind of tailor it down. So the change in occurrences by female, and then also the top 10 names. So let's really get into the nitty gritty of it. What are the top 10 names within all of the DMV within all of those states for females, more specifically, because I just wanted to know if my name would appear. So really, that's what I did. I tailored it down. Um, and so again, we wanted to focus on a small group of names, um, consistently represented on like a larger share of total births, right? So the visualization shows the time series structure of the data rather than dramatic year to year changes. Most names show smooth upward or downward trends, indicating the name preferences. They evolve steadily over multiple years, as you can see here, from the year 2014 all the way to 2024. So, not again dramatic changes or influxes within the data, kind of steady. Some of them remain flat for a few years, um, but overall, very simple, very simplistic across the board in terms of the data there. Across all the years, only a limited number of names dominate usage. For example, the name Elizabeth was very popular. Like if you look at the number of occurrences here within the year 2016, 200 in comparison to other years for these names. So you have some of them that have outliers there, Elizabeth more specifically. Um, so across all the years, only a limited number of the names dominate the usage, while many others remain rare. This concentration suggests that parents tend to favor familiar or socially accepted names, reinforcing long-term popularity patterns. And then in terms of the popular girl names, looking at female baby names, we can see that popular names tend to persist over time. Some names rise due to cultural moments or generational renewal, or but the decline is usually slow, reflecting lasting acceptance rather than sudden replacement. And I would just even spot on looking. Dorothy, Elizabeth, Jennifer, Linda, Margaret, Mary. I've met at least one person in my lifetime with this name, right? Maybe several. So I didn't think that the data was overall biased. It didn't give me a name of something that I myself might not have heard before. It seemed pretty true based off of my research because I even did maybe a top 20, a top 50 names. And these narrowed down were pretty, I would say, digestible, believable, if you'd ask me. Comparing the gender patterns overall, even though we kind of went past that slide, when comparing them, female naming trends appear slightly more flexible, while male naming trends show greater consistency. The difference highlights how social expectations and traditions can influence naming decisions differently for boys or girls. So that's another reason why I went more with the female sector of this in terms of the context and the background factors. Although the analysis focuses on name counts, external factors such as popular culture, celebrities, generational identity, like influence, well, like an influx or likeliness and influence, that will influence these trends. Just as economic or environmental data can be explained using background indicators, baby names or baby name popularity reflects changes in social influences over time. I specifically chose the spark line um, just to show that the most popular names typically peak before declining slowly. And that's what the data showed, even the table prior to transitioning into a graph. And that just reinforced the idea that naming trends evolve naturally rather than abruptly disappearing. And so then just performing a quick analysis here, Tableau forecasted that post 2023, there will be approximately about 57K female names and 56K male names born within the DMV area in 2024. And then transitioning into 2025, about 64K for females and 63K for males. So again, this just kind of projected to show, hey, there is an expected increase in births within the female sector versus the male. So this one was just really simplistic as well. It was really difficult for me to get this graph to tailor specifically to the names that just had explosive outbursts of data. So we narrowed it down there in terms of the forecast. And then the overall summary of this is, the data shows the baby name popularity is shaped by long-term cultural continuity and gradual change rather than sudden shifts. So while there are new influences emerging over time, uh, tradition plays a strong role in maintaining the popularity of these names across generations. Um, the story demonstrates how time series data can reveal meaningful yet cultural patterns through simple but effective visualizations. And here we saw that in the usage of the frequencies and how we can identify which names have endured or how they've grown over time. Studying these patterns can be really important, providing valuable insight into how baby naming traditions have evolved. I myself, I'm a first time mom, and I looked at a lot of different things of data in terms of not even just from a textbook, right? But even just going on the website to kind of get a general idea of what I wanted to name for my baby girl. So, again, a simple data set, but such a compelling story behind it. It was something simple, yet you could take such a deeper dive into it. So overall, the exploration just reveals that the naming patterns shift gradually, shaped by cultural trends, media influences, and the preferences in each generation. This was an intriguing analysis, like I said, something outside of my normal scope, and I wanted to see if there was a way to elaborate or to build a story on something so simple. Um, and it was nice to observe how traditional names hold their ground while there are some new favorites that continue to emerge. And so, in closing, that is the summary of my results, and then my references here. This is where you can find the data set that was used on our Social Security site. Um, I believe it's the renowned like bank for social security information, and this is where I found the data for all 50 states. But again, in this specific analysis, we narrowed it down to just the DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and then also using the text here for our course, just to kind of expand a little bit more on the overview of what the time series data visualizations would contribute, and then also the forecasting piece of this analysis. So I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for your participation, for listening. I welcome the feedback, and good luck to everyone in the course.